Hey everybody, today we're going to make salsa arriba. So we're going to can it too. So it's going to be a two-part video. Canning, which is super easy. Making salsa, which is super yum. Oh yeah, and this is the best salsa you'll ever have, trust me. The great thing about salsa, you can make it your own. What do we have in our salsa today, Jimmy Dick? Well, here's an answer. Today is Jimmy Dick's International Salsa Day. So I'm going to put some corn in it. What? Yep, it's true. We're also going to have some celery. Who thought of that? Onion. Green tomatoes. What? Trust me, it'll be great. Green pepper. Jalapeno pepper. Fresh out of the garden. Cilantro. Fresh out of the can of the Del Monte plantation. And just a couple of jars. Pineapples. Only a couple jars. And look at these. Look at these. You gotta have tomatoes with salsa. I will have the recipe included below in the comments, but you can only read it if you hit the like button. Give it a good smash, hit it like. Only then are you allowed to read the ingredients list. And trust me, I put in a computer bug program, so if you don't hit mash and you read the recipe anyway, you're going to download just a crazy virus that's going to be held on you. Just so you know. Just kidding. But please, give me a like. Let's get cooking. Oh yeah, salsa. First step in salsa, every salsa should have onions. And you can see here I'm going to do big cuts on this one, so it's a little chunky. It's not going to stay chunky because we're going to blend it at the end to smooth everything out. But for the onions, leave them big and chunky. That way when you do blend it, there's still some bits of onion in there for texture. Okay, onions, done. Put it in there. Rock on. Next thing we're going to cut up, what could it be, Jimmy Dick? Green pepper. So I cut the top off, obviously, throw it away. Then I'm going to cut it down the sides because you want to remove all that white, pithy stuff and the seeds. It's just bitter and not good, okay? Unlike jalapenos, which has a purpose for heat. So these I'm going to do a finer dice on because you don't want big hunks of that. But don't mince it up so fine that it disappears. Super easy. The beauty of this one is, this salsa recipe, is you just throw everything together. It's so fast and easy. Next, celery. So I've already cut the bottom and the top off and washed them good. And now I'm going to cut them. These I'm going to cut finer than I did the onion because they're very fibrous. And although you want that because of the little crunch it provides. You might think celery is an odd choice for salsa, but in this recipe it totally works. Totally. Get in that pan. I'm telling you right now, once you make this salsa, you'll never buy paste again. Screw paste. Anyway, this is corn. Fresh from the garden corn. And I have one of these little corn kernel remover doohickey devices. Yeah, I love it. It's awesome. So I moved that back into a better view so you could see better. Look at this. It goes right down the cob like butter. So 2 ears of corn. That's what we're putting in here. Get in the pan with the rest of the kiddos and take a swim. Well, it's kind of a beach right now, but they're going to be swimming here soon enough. All right. Doesn't that look good already? So fresh. Next, green tomatoes. I know what you're thinking. What the hell? Green tomatoes? Are they sour? Well, I don't know, but they work. You got to have green tomatoes. This recipe calls for 2 cups of green tomatoes, but these are all the green tomatoes I had in my garden. It's been a rough year, folks. It's 2020. My garden has taken a beating. But what I'd lack in 2 cups, I'm going to make up with the red. So into the pool, the dry pool again. Next, oh, look at these beauties. Look at these awesome tomatoes. And we're not going to waste any of these. Here's the beauty of this recipe. You don't have to peel them first. Say what? Say what now? It's true. That's the longest part about canning tomatoes and all that is boiling them in boiling water, then shocking them in cold water, then peeling the skin off. It takes forever and it's a huge mess. This recipe, you don't have to do that. And guess what? All the skins on there just melt off into the salsa. You don't even know it's there. I'm telling you right now, when I found that out, I was sold. I was in. So these tomatoes, and aren't they beautiful? We're going to need 6 cups, but I need 7 because I didn't have enough green tomato. And again, all you got to do is just really do a rough chop on these. I just cut them in half, and I know I sliced down 4 times, but trust me, by the end of the 6 cups, I was only doing them 3 slices across this midsection. Here's my 6 cup of tomatoes, skin and all. I'm telling you, that's a game changer, folks. Game changer. So, what's next? Jalapenos. Now, here's the skinny on the jalapenos. I'm only going to put, actually, you only see me cut up these 3, but I do at least 5 in the pot. 5 jalapenos, seeds, membrane, everything in there. Okay? And the reason for this is it's going to provide a little heat, but I'm going to do raw jalapenos in the jar that I pour the salsa in before I can it for additional heat. That way the heat doesn't all cook away while you're boiling everything to death. So, I'm using really good knife skills here. The reason for that is I'm trying my best not to get all that hot juice all over my fingers because I love to do that and then stick it right in my eye. That's just a pastime. Don't judge me. I do it all the time. I know better. Doesn't change a thing. I have rubber gloves that I could be wearing, but I'm not. So guess what happened later? I washed my hands like 5 times. And then I stuck my finger right in my eye, burnt like hell. It just, you know what? Put on gloves, people. Don't follow my example on that. Put on some gloves. They really do save your eyeballs later. Now this I have to laugh at because this is about a tablespoon of fresh cilantro out of my garden. When I saw the video, I laughed so hard. But when I put it in, I actually went back, chopped up all the rest of it. So it's about 3 tablespoons of fresh cilantro, maybe 4. So into the pool goes a 15-ounce can of tomato sauce. That just helps. It's not cheating. It's still salsa. It's unflavored tomato sauce. And then a 12-ounce can of tomato paste. What tomato paste does, not only does it help thicken it up a little bit, but it just gives it that umami flavor, that really slow-cooked salsa. It adds a lot to it. But you're going to find out that there's more than just tomato paste that adds. This is the secret. Mrs. Wage's salsa mix. You can get it in the canning aisle everywhere you go. That has canning aisle. Kroger's, Walmart, doesn't matter. So that's 1 pack of Mrs. Wage's salsa mix. Look at this. And then, of course, don't forget your 1 teaspoon of salt. This not only adds a little flavor, but it's important because we're going to can. So you need that extra little bit of sodium in there for canning. And it's just a teaspoon of salt. All you salt Nazis out there, relax. It's just a teaspoon of salt. So this looks mighty thick, and it is. But the next time you see it, it won't be. And the next time you see it, it will have grown because I had so many leftover tomatoes that I decided to double the recipe. I'm going to put the single recipe down below that you'll be able to see in the comments section. But because I didn't want any of these awesome tomatoes to go to waste, I doubled it. Booyah, look at that. Next, green chili. Hatch green chili. Hatch, New Mexico. They make the best green chili ever. So, I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit and give it a stir. And you're going to look for bubbles. I also put in a tablespoon of red pepper paste. Now once that starts to bubble, put a lid on it and let it simmer on low for 30 to 45 minutes. The longer it cooks, the more the flavors melt. Now how am I going to mix this up? You can see it's still very chunky. You can take small portions of it and put it in a blender, but that's not how Jimmy Dick rolls, yo. That's not how I do it. And it's very dangerous, so if you do it, very small batches only. I like power tools. So let's break out an immersion blender. Bam! And booyah. This little baby here, I love it. So we're going to go down in here and we're going to blend it right in the pot. Less mess. It doesn't explode. The bad thing about using a blender, if you put too much of anything hot in a blender and you hit start on that bad boy, it'll blow up. Not like a bomb, but it'll blow out the top, blow the lid off if you're not holding it down. It's a hot mess. Your kitchen is stank. Your skin is on fire because the hot liquid is all over it. So anyway, immersion blenders, way to go. So I'm just going to do this until I like the consistency that I see. It can be as chunky or as smooth as you like it. So that's up to you. Now when I see a big chunk float to the top, I ram it down home and I mash it up. Not on my watch, chunk. Now unlike my previous canning videos, which is pressure canning, we are going to can these in a hot water bath canning method. We're just going to submerge them in boiling water. This couldn't be any easier. Now my jars are super hot because I have them in my canner right now that is boiling with water. I just had the rack raised up so they steam, so they're sterile. Now in this one jar I'm putting pineapple. I didn't put it in my salsa mix, as you saw. I'm just doing it in a few jars. And in the other jar, and the pineapple jar, I'm putting about a teaspoon to a tablespoon of freshly chopped jalapeno. Now I'm going to fill these to the bottom ring, which is 1 inch of headspace. It's super important that you leave that 1 inch of headspace when you can pretty much everything. That just gives it room to do its good little savory stuff. Now I have it on a paper towel. Why? Boom, there you go. I'm a mess in the kitchen. So on this one here, I'm also going to fill it up, leaving 1 inch of headspace. And then I am going to take a stirrer and I'm going to make sure there's no air bubbles. Just like when you pressure can, you don't want air bubbles in anything. And to make sure it's not metal, whatever you use to stir it around, just make sure it's not metal. It can be plastic, it can be wood, does not matter at all. What does matter is that it's not metal. Did I say that enough? I'm trying to stress a point here. Now in that little ramekin there, I have white vinegar, and I'm going to wipe around the tops of these jars to remove any of my mess, any food particles, anything that could prevent my lid from getting a good seal on it. My lids, by the way, I do not boil, but I do bring the water to a boil, turn it off, and then I put my lids in there. It's just to soften them up. So here's my lid. I'm going to put a ring on it. Finger tight only. Don't do it too tight, otherwise it'll buckle and prevent a good seal. And we're going to take them off anyway for storage. Rings are not necessary for storage, and if you ever had them on too long, you know what I'm talking about. They're hard to get off. So, 2 more jars. I'm waving my hands because they're on fuego. So I can fit 9 pints into my hot water bath canner. Now I'm lowering them down into the hot water. It may look like it's boiling, but it's not. Initially when you do it, and you want them totally submerged. Sorry, let me stress that. You want them about 1 inch above the top of the jars. The water level needs to be about 1 inch higher. So I'm going to add more water to it. Now, when it's first, put the lid on it when you're done. But you're going to have air bubbles coming up. That's not boiling, okay? You want a rolling boil before you set your timer. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. It ain't bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. It's this. Babooga. Look at all them. Now that's a boil. That's a boil. Set your timer for 15 minutes. When that goes off, take the lid off, turn the heat off, and let them sit in there for 5 minutes. You don't want to shock them too much because you could crack a jar, especially in my house. It's summertime. I like to hang meat in my living room. That's how cool the air conditioner is. So you're going to let them sit for 5 minutes before you remove them. Once you remove them, put them on a towel, set them on your counter. You're going to hear ping, ping, ping as they all seal. Leave them alone for 24 hours. Now, if we're lucky, we may get a glimpse of the elusive Jimmy Dick in his natural habitat, the kitchen. We set out salsa as a bait. Uh-oh, looks like it's working. There he is, folks. The Jimmy Dick, doing what he loves to do. Eat salsa. He doesn't like to be photographed for obvious reasons. So when you see, oh, there's somebody coming. I'm out. You know, there's something rewarding about canning your own salsa. I canned 13 pints today. And because there's no meat, no pressure canning required. Hey, if you like this, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Jimmy Dixon.